Officially, good morning. Welcome out to the Options Income Launchpad Sunday Market Insights. Oh, we started just in time. Graylin and PJ got here. Good morning to both of you. Happy Sunday. My name is Scott. Welcome to Sunday Market Insights. Woo, that was fast. Education, illustrative purposes only. We're not brokers. We're not advisors. We don't give personalized investment advice. No recommendations. Decisions made based on any information provided is at your own risk. Yada, yada, yada. Market posture. Huh. I really look forward to it, and how the AI sees it, and I was thinking about it, and I was like, it's not like I would ever expect it to fundamentally see things differently, right? Because it's like, it is what it is. We're pretty objective. But who sees something turning first? Or like, is there just, I don't know, it always gives me just a little bit more to think about, which is hopeful. So market posture. Oh, there we go. There we go. We had a little bet when it was sitting around 90. Does it get to 100 first or back to 80 first? Yep. Okay. 102. Insane. Okay. Economic calendar, of course. Sector searching. I think we're pretty good right now. I mean, we're going to keep our eye on the sectors, but we just kind of went through a full range. Watch list is refreshed. Lots of good candidates on there. Strong trends, market leaders, things that we like. Watch list maintenance. Again, I think we can spend our time building the opportunity lists because our sector and watch list maintenance is in check. However, this was what I recognized looking back. We as a group, led by me, were a little bit lax in refreshing the list because there was plenty of times I'm like, God, if I would have looked at this group. So I don't know what the right cadence is, but my thought was the second we see something new or different on the sector rotation, that week we dive into it and make sure we refresh our list. We make sure that if it's breaking out, we have all the top stocks that are involved in the breakouts. Because I do realize looking last year that there was some times where we would search something and I'd be like, wow, this thing has actually been strong for months. And I just haven't searched this sector in that long. So I think it needs to be at least like 4 to 6 weeks. That's the range. Every sector should be searched 4 to 6, but let's see if we can let the posture. So maybe if we see something interesting, we'll be like, let's go double check. A discount double check. Okay, let's see. Says I'm connected. And last week, this is the last week of prioritization. We spent January sort of evaluating our plans, giving them scores. That really should only have took like a half hour at most, where you're just like, yeah, let me just look at my plan and give it a score. And then you take your bottom 3 scores and you say these are the priorities, and that's what you work on. Nothing else. You just build those, try to get them to a 5 or 6. Now, this is the last week you have for that, and then we're going to start the loop again. And I'm in. I actually feel like my plan could use a little polish. So I'm gonna complete the whole loop. We'll talk about it. see how the plans look, go from there. All right, let's go posture. Let's go posture. Here's where we are. Nope, that's just a little too big. One back. There we go. Okay. Is my chart detached? I don't think it is. Oh, it is. Perfect. Let's get started. And well, we can start talking about this. You can see. And we'll talk about it while I grab a coach window. ChatGPT. Let me grab. Let's see. Market posture. Here we go. We'll start down at the bottom. I accidentally added a conversation here I didn't want to. I hope that doesn't... I was doing a summary of the Oracle here. I usually do that in the other chat. Shouldn't matter. For analysis, 125, 26. Anybody changing their score? Anybody close to changing their score? Mine is a 1 point. Okay, let's see if we can just get right back on. Mine is a 1.25. And it's going to stay at 1.25. Actually, as I looked at it, the place that I thought I might lower mine is actually here, the short-term trend. We'll see. See, I threw it off by doing this. What did I do? I've done that a couple of times. Wait, am I on the right one? No, sorry. That's my fault. I didn't do that, actually. I was in the wrong chat. That's my fault. Horrible. I've only had one coffee. My brain's not quite there. $125.26. Okay, that should be much faster and make much more sense. It's like, what is it telling me? Okay, yeah, I figured it would be unchanged. Easy enough. Let me make sure I go to the right place next, short term. Now, I think this is where it may deviate. Chart for analysis. 25, 26. Let's see what we think here. And the reason I think it is because I had been already like in this area saying it feels like it could be, you know, a little bit lower. And you can see we did drop down. This is hard to call a low. It's not a strong low. This is a strong low, but I agree. There was enough of a drop here to say it's rattled. I'm gonna drop it 1/4 of a point, nothing more. And it could get worse, but definitely I'm gonna go down to a 1. And give me a sense. Looks like Stephen D did that. Steve C agrees, and I have to imagine the ChatGPT is actually even ahead of me. It was still at a 1.5. So it's got to come down. I'm curious if it actually drops it more than 1/4 of a point. Let's see what happens. Could be interesting. 1.25. Okay, so it's okay. It did the same thing. Down modestly. Short-term trend remains bullish, but has softened slightly. Agreed. Price pulled back from the recent high. Slipped toward the rising 50 where the buyers step back in. The higher low structure is still intact, but momentum is cooled and the market's no longer pressing the upper channel with urgency. Well said, my friend. Continuity note down modestly from 1.5. We're down modestly from 1.25 to 1. I'm in complete agreement there. As upside follow through faded and the market shifted back into consolidation market, the trend remains constructive, but conviction has eased. A renewed push above 695, while a drift toward the 50 would risk a further step down to 1. Yeah, it's great. It's great logic. Makes a lot of sense. I think we both agree with the momentum of the score, which was a slight downgrade from both of us. Okay. So far, so good. Now that I got into the right track. Volume. I believe I am also going to drop here, whereas the model was already at a 0 score. That's me at 2.25. And as we drop this, we have a tie. We have a sell, a tie, a sell, a buy. So overall, 2 sells, 1 buy, 2 ties. I'm going to give it a 0 for sure. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of like the sellers are starting to take control. It's right on the edge that if the sellers get one more, it goes negative for me. And it's I would say, you know, to be fair, it's kind of a sideways slope. We started here, and we ended here, and I'm going to draw a straight line if I can. That's the line. Slightly negative, but I would say a 0 score makes sense when I see this. For now, did anybody go negative on their score? Good morning, Craig. Oh, goodness. Well, that is, that does sound life altering. Good luck with the transition. I wish you luck. Um, hey, Vladimir, good to see you as well. Okay, so yeah, I'm a 0. Let me take a picture of this. But that is a drop for me, so, you know, my score. I said I thought it might end up around 4.25, maybe even 4. I don't think. Yeah, maybe. I guess we'll see. Let's go put this in. Let's go put this in here. And drop it. My score is going to drop to a 0. Oh no, so I'm already tracking at a 4. Sorry, I was at a 4.5. I was at a 4.5, so I'm tracking at a 4 now. And the analysis. Oh, did I get it? No. What is going on? Damn AI models. Okay, give me this week's analysis. The chart should include the count should include the full chart, giving slightly weight to the earliest week. Let's just give that a little alignment there. Okay. Ooh, gosh, it was fast. I couldn't even read what it was doing. But it basically looked at the whole chart across the full visible window, sells, ties, buys, weighted slightly sellers slightly more active recently. Yes. Buyers still defending structure. Yes. No decisive dominance. Yes. That puts us at a 0. Why not a 0.25? Because recent sell-off offsets the tie. Earlier buyer pressure is intentionally discounted. Because ties do lean buyer. Structure and trend remain intact. Okay. Yeah. Very nice. Oh, it's giving us an assessment. This is a high-quality system. Oh, thank you, ChatGPT. That's very kind of you. ChatGPT has... Oh, it's already a 0. Okay, so there you go. I'm a 0. It's a 0. Let's go... That was a good little tweak. It just sort of asked, like, well, let's check in. Love that. Major market analysis. Those of you who are playing with your own, does it do that for you? Like, that's kind of cool, right? It's like, hey, let's check in here. What time is it? We're doing pretty good. This week's charts for analysis. 1:25:26. And my current score was a 0.5. Steven says he is still a 0.5. I find we've been tracking closely in this scoring. Maybe I would probably say the same. The model's also at a 0.5. Okay, so 0.5s all around. Huzzah. Don says his AI is a little higher. Interesting. Okay, start here. Let's refresh this first of all. And make sure I'm all the way over. ChatGPT gives me instant few stocks. Okay, very nice. That's a nice way to use it. I love that. That's a good idea. John just sparked an idea for like use cases. I find, like I want to start to watch an AI podcast where they just sort of talk about ways people are, because it's like there's no way I'm imagining all the different ways to make it useful. So anyways. All right. Gabe's AI. So we got one as high as 0.75. And you can see even within AIs, it's easy for it's perceived objectives and analytical structures to end up in different places. Fascinating stuff. All right, let's get a picture of this. This is the 200-day. You know what? Let me actually move this out of the way. This is my drawing tool. Let me try that one more time. And we'll go drop that. There's one. Our thought looks great. We've got the NASDAQ on top. We've got the Russell on top. We've got the S&P in the middle. We've got the Dow sort of lagging behind. This is a classic bull major market structure. We've got risk leading the way. Technology, small caps, the things that can grow faster. And that looks good. Good start. 133. Very similar structure with small caps really bursting to the top. Up at almost doubling up. It's a surge. We still have the NASDAQ leading. You can tell it's starting to show some signs of fatigue here. The Dow moved into not a leading position, but I would say in a parity position with the S&P. A little bit of a less defensive, that more breadth of market, meaning even the large caps are moving at a strong rate. That's actually a bullish signal, not less so, unless it continues to show more strength for the Dow, in which case it does become a bit more defensive. Did I take a picture of this one already? I think I did, right? I think I have. I should check before I go. Nope, I did not. Let's take a picture. And drop it in here. Now we have two pictures. And this is the day. This is where we actually are scoring. What's the concern? Well, the good news is the small cap surge has moved it even further into a leading position. But the concern is that the Dow is also kind of holding somewhat in a position of strength. So It's hard not to look at that and be like, well, is it defensive or was there just all of a sudden a large cap surge in bullishness? And there's less concern, but still concern about the NASDAQ. It's hard to be like, well, the NASDAQ's leading too. It's like, well, it's really more in a position of parity, like I said with the Dow on the other chart. So it didn't drop below. If the NASDAQ dropped below as the Dow pushed above, then I'd be like, oh, that's not good. But it didn't do that. It's holding close. I still don't see that as more than, yeah, I think I'm going to hold mine as well. I think I'm still saying it's a 0.5. It's a 0.5. And another chart. And let's see what it's bringing. Oh, that one wasn't all the way. Good that I clicked. Here we go. I'm all the way. Everyone else, that looks the same as yours. We're all the way to the right. Regional banks, biotech, nice. I think actually it's interesting, Press. We did you might have missed it. We did a financial search and saw a lot of strength in regional banks. And I believe we added one or two. A lot of them don't have great options, interestingly. So, but yeah, 100% agree with that. We did not do healthcare, which would have led us to small cap biotech. So that one. Okay, what do we see here? We see less, right? It's just kind of like a stable position from the Dow. The NASDAQ is underneath, but basically in parity still. It's just with it. It's close. It's not a sell-off. I don't think this brings worse. I'm curious. Whoops, that's the wrong thing. I'm curious if the model scores it's down or not. And let's go drop this one in. This one always is where I get curious about a divergence. I'm leaving mine the same. I'm like the Stevens left theirs. I think other people did. Russell leading, that's what I meant. Did I not say that one of those times? Yeah, the Russell was definitely leading across the board. Small caps across the board. My bad if so. Okay, let's go see what the model says. Major market risk appetite weekly summary. 0.5. Okay. On the primary scoring window, the Russell is clearly leading, with the NASDAQ participating but not dominant. That's a good way to phrase it. S&P in the middle. The Dow's not lagging, actually, but I don't know. Maybe it needs to look at that again. Okay, it's not lagging. It's just showing that it's the Russell's taking the leading role. What is going on here? Okay. 0.5. All right. 0.5 score. Good enough. It's the same as well. Sector rotation. This week's charts. Analysis. 125, 26. All right. Let's go grab some charts. Minus 0.25 for Steven. And 0 for Dawn. I believe 0 is where I am starting from. I'm a 0 now. So we'll see if there's any conviction of this score getting... Oh, no, I don't want that there. I got to get rid of that. Sorry. Sometimes that ad jumps up, right? Right as I'm about to take my picture. I don't like when it does that. Or see how these things like jump up in front of me? Stop. Okay, stop it. Stop it. Okay. It was harder than it needed to be. One there. Tech on top. Small surge from industrials. Everybody else is at or below. Discretionary is also in the running, and then it falls off. So at best, it could be like a 0.25 right now, and you can see it gets murky on the 133. Let's get a quick picture of this. And that's healthcare on top, followed by energy. You got technology in here, materials in here. I mean, this is kind of energy's mixed in. It's kind of a jumbled mess. So, see if it brings any clarity as we drop to the 66. The 66 has energy on top, materials. Now these two things here are not really defensive, meaning like people are moving in. Like it's more a reflection of increased prices, potentially inflationary. Healthcare is kind of quasi-defensive. There's a bit you can see industrials is here as well. Staples making a surge, that's defensive, but discretionary is right there as well. Technology and communication services are both underwater, so financials. Yeah, I mean, I'm still gonna say 0 because I see more of a like it's concern of. I mean, it's certainly not a great sector rotation profile, but I don't feel like it's gone negative yet. But I also can completely understand why someone's score has gone negative. So that's what I would say. And of course, I'm always curious what the computer says. The Oracle. 22 days. Energy, materials, staples, and a bit of industrials trying to hang on. Doesn't look great. And let's drop that in as well. Okay. I'm keeping mine at a 0. What? Let's see. No. This is for a brand new assessment, not a reassessment. Okay, I spelled it wrong. That's fine. Your previous score for this component was a 0. Please use the 125, 26 images for this week's new assessment. The longer term views remain constructive enough to avoid a negative score, but the absence of growth, sector dominance, caps upside, continuity. This is a new 0.25 reading. Continued healthcare would keep it. I don't know. Healthcare and materials don't feel like I'm mildly bullish. I'm going to leave it. It gave it a 0.25. Anyone else's AI do that? I feel like I don't want to keep addressing it. I'm going to let it ride and put it in. I mean, look, if this thing goes bullish, maybe it was right to give it that score sooner. That's what I'm saying, right? Like, so I'm going to let it happen. 1.25. Give me your thoughts on that, everyone, because it definitely didn't feel like it was a increased bullish perspective to me. But again, okay, Gabe says, yeah, 0.25. All right. Higher. 1.5. 1.5. Now, for sector rotation, our models, both mine and our and the model is a 1 point cap. So it can only go up to 1 or down to -1. So mine should, a 0.25 is saying it looks mildly bullish. I'm saying I don't see it. Steven's saying he agrees. But we'll let the model leave it there, and maybe we'll ask it a question if it stays there. Like, are you seeing this as mildly bullish in rotation and blah blah? I don't know. I don't want to be too prescriptive to it when it seems to be giving pretty good rationale. So let's see what happens. If we give it a week to either dial in or prove itself right. Volatility, we're both at a 1.25. Let's expand this back out. And let's pull up the VIX. Let me go ahead and just snap a quick image since we're here. And let's go here. Okay. Oh, I'm done with this. Oh no, let's take a quick peek before we leave this and I forget to come back. Just a quick peek at the calendar so we know what we're looking at this week. Pretty minor stuff on Monday and Tuesday. This consumer confidence has been, consistently dropping. It would be nice to see it pick back up, but not too big of a deal. And then we have the Fed. We have the Fed on Wednesday, but no expectations for interest rate change, just potentially verbiage about economic assessment, potentially. Jobless claims. It's been in a pretty good place as long as it doesn't unexpectedly spike. And then Friday's a big one with some PPI numbers. I believe they're delayed numbers. Maybe not. December. Oh, yeah, they're December numbers. They're a little behind, but not too much. We don't really have projections for that yet, so we'll see what happens there. Okay. Now, let's go finish. Where's my chart? Yeah, definitely a higher high. Definitely, I'm pulling my score down a quarter. It hasn't done anything else beyond that. So we did get a lot of it back, but we've got to reflect that surge that pushed us above these prior ones. We finished. I think I have the chart. Yeah. I should have sent this already. There we go. We finished still at 16. So we still finished at a reasonable level, but we certainly ventured into a more concerning area. So I'm going to take myself down to a 1. Yeah, that was my estimate on Friday. I kind of thought I would drop on 3 different areas. Pretty right on the bubble, right on the borderline of concerning. Any worse, it would be like, yeah, but it was, we kind of saw it. We see what it is still. 375. It's the lowest we've been in a while. So, interestingly enough, the model's at least probably a half. We'll see what it does here with its score. It dropped it. Let's see. Where was it? Oh, it stayed. It stayed at a 1.25. The VIX attempted another short-term bounce, briefly pushing. I'm going to ask for a reevaluation. There's no acknowledgement of the jump into the 20s. Was I going to make sector rotation a 0.25? Was that what the model score was? Was it 0.25? Oh, his is a 0.25. I did. That's why he's tracking at a 4.5 and I'm a 3.75. He kept his score the same, which he didn't really. There we go. Okay. A meaningful spike into the low 20s before reversing and closing back near 16. While volatility ultimately failed to hold the elevated levels, the magnitude and speed represents a credible hedging impulse, not just noise. This challenges the notion of fully entrenched complacency and suggests that fear can still re-enter abruptly, even if it is currently being faded. Continuity note down 0.25, reflecting a failed but significantly volatile expansion attempt, although the broader structure remains below the 50. I agree. I agree. That's a good reassessment. So we're going to move the model to a 1. And I just, the only reason I put it in is because when it explained, it was like, oh, it tested, it was around, everything it said was around 16. Which, if that was the case, it would be a stay the same, but it didn't. It popped, and so I just was like, "Hey, wait a second, we have to test it at times." So, Gabe says my model is too high. So, anyways, continuity logic. Let's see. Well, you can tell that we had a reevaluation and it now scores at a 1 due to the foray into the 20s, yet reclaimed a level at 16. Okay. I'm a 375. The model is a 425. Save and lock it in. Where did everybody else end up? 3.5 for Stephen D. 4 for Bob Rowland. Gabe is a 4. Okay. So we're in that 3.75 for Steve C. Don's a 4.5. The Oracle's a 4.25. So we're anywhere between a 3.5 and a 4.5. Probably a 4 on average. If I had to guess, close to that. Greg's a 4, pulls us there. 4. Okay, it feels right. That's a. Now, when you look at the momentum, of that, that's a market that's trying to hold on to conditions. It's not a, hey, let's try to advance conditions. You can see we've dropped. We were at a 5, 4.755, and then it's just like struggling to hold on. Still bullish, but we would love to see some signs. Where would those signs come from? Give me a spike in volume, a good day of buyers. One good buy day could bring us back to a 0.25. There's some traction there. A surge this week. Where we pop back up to old highs and maybe, we're close. That could get a quarter point. Long-term trend's not getting anything. We could get it in volume and short-term trend this week. Major market, we need to see the NASDAQ participate more and the Dow ease up a little bit. Sector rotation, that the NASDAQ would bring some technology back into the mix. And then possibly a quarter point back on the VIX. We could easily jump back to 4.25, 4.5 by next week with some good bullish action this week. But this feels right, I think, for what we're seeing in the market. We have a strong watch list here. Let's go make a well done, Oracle, today. We appreciate your help. I believe we should be polite when it comes to our AI associates. Okay, let's get to the top of this watch list and see who we believe present viable trading opportunities for the week of 125. Alcoa. They reported earnings, chopped around a little bit. I don't know. That's a maybe. I'm going to put it on. We know Basic Materials has been showing a lot of strength. That's a Basic Materials stock, so that makes sense. Apple is a no. Archer Daniels, that's consumer staples. It's a little overextended. We would need a pullback. And by the time we got a pullback, you can see earnings are just lurking out there. This is new. I'm going to watch it, but I'm going to say not initially on the focus list. AMAT definitely is. Looks great. Right? This looks great. AMAT just got up to new highs. It's in a bit of a consolidation. Could come down a little bit. Could pop. I think that one could this week. AMKR was funky. I'm going to watch it but not list it this week. This was valid and then it just sort of dropped all the way. Actually, no, I am going to list it. If it gives a hiccup, I think I would actually, if it slowed its own volatility down, I am going to list it. If it sort of like starts to like come in here and stall out and then give a more concise, like just like, oh, here's a nice little entry, I'd be thinking, hey, you know what? That actually looks like a retest hiccup. We've sat through those types of things before when we have traded stuff that popped initially and then just sort of sunk but didn't fail and then held, and then all of a sudden, bam, they make the move you wanted. So am I willing to consider coming in after the hiccup on something that I didn't take? Yeah, absolutely. Tesla, Microsoft, Meta all report Wednesday. Okay, yep, makes sense. Okay, Amazon. So AMKR is a yes for me. Amazon. So I'm have it on the list. We talked about it. I think I didn't end up putting an alert on it, but I did end up in the trade. I think a few other people took the trade. Let me know if you're one of them. Certainly looks like it's trying to catch that bounce. Doug took it. Okay. APH looks absolutely looking for a setup. Unfortunately, the earnings are next week on this one. Probably that same Wednesday. Is that Wednesday? I believe the 28th is Wednesday. It is. So there's another one, APH. I like it, but not unless we see how earnings go. ASX. Yeah, I think there's something to look at that. We've got like already 5 stocks on the opportunity list. Just in the A's. No on AXP. Alibaba, that's a maybe. You can see that's moving a little bit. BAC, no. BCS, Barclays, International Bank. Kind of sideways here, but could it start going? Yeah, I'm gonna add it to our list. If this thing were to accelerate, could be the next move. Whoops, Bud. Overextended. We need a pullback of some kind on Bud. But it is definitely showing some strength. I'm going to put both Bud and Citi on the list. If Bud does pull back and flag, it could turn. This one's trying to hold, and if it does, this could be, I think, an opportunity in the financial sector. Caterpillar's got earnings. We're going to hold off on that. CF, overextended. Maybe on a pullback. I think Siena's trying to hold up on a possible double tap. Up, down, hitting that support again, hiccup type entry. Missed the first one. I think Coherent and setting up, pulling back. Yeah, there's some good stuff. Plenty of bullish opportunities through our list. Cisco is one I was looking at for that same kind of a thing. Just a little sneaky reversal. Pops up, comes down. Now it looks like it may try to go. It's a little, you can see if you were really confident, you could have gotten in already. Maybe wait for the Heiken Ashi. I think this one is looking viable. I might take that.
Delta, I don't know. Kind of volatile still coming down. Maybe. I'm not going to add it. Dow Chemicals. It's got earnings. Estee Lauder. Ford. Ford is one we took. You can see it's on a little bit of a hiccup. As I've said, we've lasted through hiccups before. I'm going to let this thing, it still hasn't even broken the halfway point. Hoping that it kind of stabilizes and then starts turning again and we'll be fine. But we'll watch and see. GE, no. Gold, strong. Really no good entry opportunities in here right now. GM, nah, chopping around. It's got earnings. Google, I'm going to say yes to Google on my list still. It's pulled back. It's still kind of holding up in here. I wonder if this is actually showing a Heiken Ashi. Interesting. Not quite. Goldman, no. Home Depot. Home Depot is the stochastics looks like it's trying to turn even as we speak. I don't know. That's a tough one. I'm going to say no. HL overextended like a lot of silver mining gold type stuff is. Howmet looks good for a pullback setup here. IBM, no. Intel, I don't know. We'll see. IBZ, it's got earnings, so we'll be careful there. IWM, pulling back, but it does still show small cap strength. I'm not going to add it to the list, but we'll keep an eye on that. Lumentum, no, still choppy. Lam Research, no. Earnings coming up. A lot of things. MasterCard, no. Meta, earnings. If you caught some of this recovery, understand you've got 3 days. So if it starts to slow down, be careful with what earnings brings. The last earnings, it had a significant gap. 750 gap down to 665. Monster Beverage, strong, but not really an opportunity here. Oh, the A through H was much stronger than G through M has been, that's for sure. Morgan Stanley is a yes for me. You can see if it can hold and possibly catch this bounce, we're looking for another one of these types of moves. Microsoft, earnings this week. We had a little bit of a pre-earnings surge, which is great when you consider how much of a drag Microsoft and Apple have been on the NASDAQ and the tech market overall. We certainly want to see some recovery out of those two big ones. Micron, if it gave an opportunity, we would take it. Let's put it on the list for good mojo. Netflix, no. New holdings caught a little bounce. Nvidia, a few people have had a little recovery. I redrew a line for those of you. I told you that we took the loss, but hey, this thing has made a recovery. If it can continue, great. If it fails, be very careful because it could fail, and when it fails out here, the time decay starts to erode more. So if it falls back into this area, make sure you have a good plan. And we, of course, will continue to discuss. Oh, good number of people that rode through. Love it. Patience is paid off in this market. A lot of our successful trades required a measure of patience. So that one just triggered a non-negotiable exit. So QQQ sideways, the real. Ooh, big pullback. Rocket Lab is on the list, looking good. It's I feel like Rocket Lab is flirting with me from across the room. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, I'm like, yeah, okay, I see you. RKT, same, looks good. Trade setting up out there. RKT sending good vibes of a trade developing. A lot of stuff actually. The market's still around a 4, and our watch list is chock full of strong, high liquidity things. RKT looks good. RKLB. So it was a little soft in the middle letters, but we're getting strong out at the edges again. Ross Stores looks strong. We know there's some movement in consumer discretionary. So that's 3 R's in a row. Love it. RTX would add to the list if it weren't for the fact that on Wednesday or on Tuesday it has earnings. Otherwise, RTX would have been added to the list as well. Silver, strong, continues to make new highs. SNDK. It's way overextended. Earnings are coming up. There's really not much time for anything there. SPY overextend, or just kind of it's recovered, and it's now just kind of stalled. But it's still, look how close it is to highs. It could easily pop up and give us 700. I still believe in the bullishness. STX looks good, but it's got earnings. SYY looks good, but it has earnings. So we've got a lot of setups that we're just not going to be able to think about participation because of the fact that we're so close to that big binary event that can gap for you or hugely against you. TJX, yes, for me. Holding above the 50 still looks okay. Tesla, no. TSM, that was viable on Friday. We talked about it actually. Let's see if it might give an ability to take the trade. If I could get in this level. Here is Vail, silver related, overextended. Viking. I don't know. The VIX we talked about. VOD. Vodafone? Is that what VOD? Come on, get me VOD. What's going on? A little freeze here. Very strange. I don't know if my Thinkorswim is frozen. Well, I made it through. I didn't get VOD, WDC, or WMT. I'm a little over time anyway, so a few more that may be there on the list. Walmart's definitely on the list because we just traded that recently. I don't know about the other two. Anyone want to take a quick look at VOD and WDC and tell me if they should be on the list? Let me know. Give me a quick peek. I'm going to rely on you guys. Walmart's on the list. Walmart's on the list. Wrote the wrong thing there. VOD. I'll hold off for now on VOD. It is on a pullback? What do you think? Yes or no? You guys get to vote. I'm going to let first person to say yes or no, it adds or it doesn't. If it pulls back, all right, we'll hold off then. No, not yet. Fair enough, you two? WDC, a little overextended as well. All right, I am adding Walmart. Walmart's on the list. Good list. It's a little smaller. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. I mean, we've been in the high 20s. Now we're in the low 20s. Still strong, though. We're still in the 20s. It's a good list. It's across multiple types of sectors in here. We've got some tech. We've got some communications. We've got some financial. We have some consumer. So it's a good list. I think we have a good opportunity for some trades this week. Let's see if the market can give us something. Good to see everybody. Thanks for participating, hanging out, a little extra. I will see you guys Monday morning to open this thing up. And as always, happy trading.